them out and then hit that thing and it should work there.
Move all around to the other side of the flower so that everyone has a chance to fit in, please.
Excuse me.
Yeah, please make sure, yeah, you're getting a
photos
picture.
during the presentation as well.
Yes,
Just gonna slide all the way down.
perfect. All right, as soon as you can step, just come on up. Now you go into that line. Great, wonderful. Welcome. Okay, so here's Putrella. She's going to tell you a little bit of facts about her. So this is a corpse flower, or Amorphalis, and it comes from the island of Sumatra, which is in Indonesia. So what happens with this plant is that it has a life history of it growing up. This is a vegetative plant, so like this guy here. And this is a baby one. The other side, that's also a baby corpse plant. So they flower, finally, but only after 8 or 10 years. So those first 8 or 10 years are just spent maturing. So every year they go up, and then they die back. And when they die back, they're not really dead. They're just putting energy into their bulb or tuber, and then they're going to start growing again. And so finally, this plant here, Putrella, she was finally ready to, instead of growing up and be another vegetative stage, she's actually ready to flower. But we didn't know that until 2 weeks ago. It was growing, but it was only about 2 weeks ago that it started to develop this state, and that's how we knew it was going to flower this time instead of being in a vegetative stage again. So it's been really busy the last 2 weeks watching her, jacking up the humidity, trying to keep everything going, and she was growing very fast, maybe 6 or 8 inches every day. So it's really been phenomenal. Yesterday at about 4 a.m., she finally opened up the flower, and the flowers are inside. This is an anthurium. Anthurium has the same kind of structure as the corpse flower. This here is the spadex. This is the structure that supports the flowers, and then this here is a modified leaf. So this here, the spadex, the tall part, the flowers on that are just at the very bottom. The anthurium have flowers all over them, but the corpse flower only has flowers at the very bottom. And then the space here, anthurium just has one here, but the corpse flower actually has 2. And when they open, yesterday at 4:30 in the morning or so, they're open like a big petunia, ready for the pollinators to come, which didn't happen because we don't have those here. But anyway, they would be open, waiting, and then the flowers would start to make their really stinky smell to attract all those pollinators. They make that smell by having the spadex heat up to about 39 degrees on its own. So the spadex starts to cook the flowers, and that releases sulfur from the flowers and makes a chemical reaction, and that's how we get the strong stink. It has to do this so fast because it's only open for a very short time. So the flowers open inside, they make this stink, the space is open, waiting, and then the beetles go in, carrion beetles, sweat bees, they get in there, and then within 12 hours, the space starts to close up, and it traps all those pollinators inside and makes them wait until the next day. And the next day, the male flowers open. So then those beetles and that, they get up there and find the male flowers, get some more pollen, and then finally they get out. And then, hopefully by then, the female flowers have been pollinated, and then it can just start to produce fruit. And it needs to protect that fruit, those developing fruit, with the space. So this space then envelops them, and then it waits until maybe six months until the fruit are mature. So it has a very interesting life cycle, and then it dies back, and then it will grow back again, I guess big as my palm tree, but just as a plant, not as a flower. But maybe in 3 years it will flower again. So that's a little bit about Putrella, and you can see why it was really important to get here today. So I'm really happy to see everybody and all your interest. So thank you very much. There's more people outside who can answer more of your questions and more pictures of her as she was growing and that. But we're going to have to keep everybody moving.